Okay. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for being a part of tonight's presentation. My name is Jason, and I am with More to Life. Yes. Wait, is there any way we can get this video at a later date? Yes, I'm going to be recording this video. So yeah, I will record it. I'm going to send the link to Mr. Crosmere, and he can get it to you by tomorrow, I think. So, but anyway, my name is Jason. I'm director of More to Life, and we are a program that goes into schools, both public and private, and we talk to students about your choices affect your future. Basically, what we want to do is we want to help students, middle school and high school mainly is our focus. We want to help students make the best choices for their life because their choices do affect their future. And right now, they're just kind of living for the moment. They're just kind of have that that tunnel vision. They're just kind of looking at the here and now. But we want them to see beyond that. We want them to help them make the best choices that actually brings benefits to their life down the road. And so one of those topics that we talk about is social media, because with social media, it's very easy to just, just get caught up in the here and now and not think about your future. Okay. So, all right. Yeah, no problem. If you have a camera and phone, or you just want to listen in, that's fine as well. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. The title of our message is Keeping Our Kids Media Safe. And this is hopefully something that's definitely on your radar. I want my kids to have media, but I want to keep them safe because there are some benefits, but there's also some pitfalls, some dangers that can affect their life, but also their future. So first of all, let's talk about the mobile device. The cell phone is more than a phone. Things have changed. When cell phones first came out, it was just a phone. If you remember Nokia, or if you remember a flip phone, it was a phone. You made phone calls. That was about it. And then later texting came onto the scene. But now we have iPhones, we have Androids. And so basically we've also given these devices to our children. And it's more than a phone. They actually hold a mini computer, if you think about it. It's a supercomputer that connects you to the world. So everywhere they go, they're carrying around a mini computer. That's why they cost around $1,000. That's why they can Google, watch videos. Us as adults, we like to check our email on the go. It's a mini computer in the palm of your hand. If you think about it, it's a huge deal. It's a huge responsibility. And now we've placed those devices in our child's hands and to have with them wherever they go. So in the chat box, let me ask you guys a question. How long does an average teenager spend looking at their screens each day? What do you think? Is it 3 hours, 9 hours, 7 hours, or 12 hours? So go ahead and put that in the chat. How many hours do you think on average a student spends on their phone, or a child spends on their phone? Okay, we got a couple different answers. We have 7 hours, okay, 9 hours, okay. Lots of great answers here. But the correct answer, for those who answered C, is 9 hours. Now, it doesn't mean that they're on their phone 9 hours straight. It means that they are on their devices throughout that day, let's say 12-hour day, at least 9 hours. And in some cases, some students are on their phones at nighttime as well. So it's not just even during the day. Sometimes it's at night while they're supposed to be sleeping, but they're on their devices. So a grand total of 9 hours. Now, some students do less than that because of maybe restrictions, or it's not as important to them, and others exceed that. Maybe some of them actually do 12 hours. But 9 hours is the average. Okay. So social media can be your this is what we tell students. Social media can be your best friend or your worst enemy. So let's talk about the first one. How can it be your best friend? Well, we're going to talk about the 4 C's of social media. The first one we want to talk about is connecting with others. It gives an opportunity for us to connect with our friends and our family. And so to have those connections, whatever platform that is, you have those connections. The second thing is communication. It's communicating with it, whether it's, again, through social media, through texting, through DMs, which are, for those who don't know, that means direct message, those inboxes, messenger, things of that nature. And then there's conversation apps. So number one, it helps us to connect with our friends, because we don't see them every day physically, and then connect with family that may live far away, and then also communicating with them on a regular basis. So those are the two good things that it's designed for. Let's talk about the bad side, the negative side, the two C's on the negative side. Number one, consuming time. As you know, these devices really take up a lot of our time, right? Because we're always on them. Even as adults, we're on them constantly, checking our feeds, checking our social media, or just killing time while we're on them, and it can consume a lot of time. And the other one is comparing ourselves to others, and this can fall for boys too, but also for mainly girls as they compare themselves to others. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. When is there a good stopping point? Well, we're gonna talk about that. Hopefully, I'll answer that question as we go along. And if I don't, please remind me of that question. So here we go. The first one I want to talk about is consuming time. Okay, so a student who's bored, they have nothing to do. They just want to sit around on their phones. Basically, they will spend time scrolling the feeds, watching Snapchat, different snaps after snap after snap, or TikToks, watching TikTok after TikTok, because some of these videos are like 15 seconds long. So it's very easy to just consume a lot all at once, just because they're bored, not because they have they want to do that. They do, but also it's just it just fills that time of just watching those videos and watching those pictures randomly and in a great amount of time, consuming the social media into their life. So this is one thing we say to students, that social media is like ice cream. And so what we'll do is we'll ask them what their favorite flavor of ice cream is, and they'll tell us what that flavor is. And so let's say we decided on their birthday that we're going to give them their favorite flavor of ice cream. And we go to the store and we get that big gallon of ice cream, the big tub, like it's almost like a pail, and it's full of ice cream. And so let's say we gave that to them, and they're there on the couch watching Netflix, watching TV, and they're eating that big tub of ice cream all at once. What's going to happen? Well, most likely they're probably going to get sick. They're probably going to have a tummy ache. They're probably not going to feel well. They're going to be hyper. And so it's really not a good idea to do that. Ice cream is good in moderation, a little bit here, a little bit there, but to eat a lot of ice cream at once is not good and it's not healthy. Well, the same thing with social media. A little bit here, a little bit there is good, but when you consume a lot of social media all at once, it can really take a toll on you. It doesn't make you sick. Well, it could make you sick to your stomach, depending on what you watch, but it can really affect you mentally, emotionally. It can really drain a lot out of you if we're not careful. That's why it's very important that they're not consuming as much all at once. So too much phone time in some cases can actually lead to addiction, believe it or not. There are students, and I'm not making this up when I say it, who are actually in rehab with cell phone addiction. Not everybody, but it actually led them to that place. And the reason for that is because their brains are still in development mode. In fact, the last part to develop is right here in the front of your brain. It's called the prefrontal cortex. And it's the part of your brain that helps you to make good decisions. It's the part of your brain that looks ahead. It's your judgment, your common sense. Now, some of you guys are like, oh, good. Well, I'm glad my kids have that. Well, technically, it's not fully developed. It's in development mode. Does anyone know what age the prefrontal cortex fully develops? Go ahead and put that in the chat. Is it 16? Is it 18? Is it 21, 25, or is it 100? Well, we hope it's not 100. Okay. Got people jumping in. It looks like they know it. Everybody's saying the one answer. So, okay, we got a couple other answers as well. But the correct answer is 25, mid-20s. So along the path of life, they are learning, they are growing and developing. But eventually, things will get better because they're going to reach that golden age of 25. The prefrontal cortex is fully developed. All the tools are in the shed helping them make good decisions, and they become well-rounded adults. But thank God they have you in their life, helping you, guiding you. I mean, can you imagine if, for instance, without you in their life, they had to get up in the morning, get ready for school, get themselves to school, all those things, drive them there and then come home and then, do the thing. yeah, it's not always, it wouldn't be easy. It wouldn't even be doable for them. So they need us helping them, guiding them, giving them the steps they need to be eventually those well-rounded adults. Another thing that happens is as their brains are developing, it's very crucial that they, do things like abstain from drugs and alcohol, because if they don't, basically they can wire their brain for addiction, because 90% of addictions start in the teen years because their brains are in development mode. Another thing that can possibly happen, is cell phone addiction, because they're on their devices way too much and they can develop an addiction to it. So much so that they just can't break free from it. In fact, there's been cases where students have, or teens have got their phones taken away, and it's almost like you took away their left arm. They go crazy. They have an emotional breakdown. There's even YouTube videos of teachers taking away cell phones, and the students get they assault the teacher, and it's really, really sad. But that phone becomes so important to them, they can't live without it. In fact, there's a really good documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. And it's a really good one. If you get a chance, watch it. And it's safe for the kids too, because there's a scene in that where they take the kid's cell phone away and they put this in this glass box, and with a combination, and they do that just to help them not be on their phones as much. And there's one scene, the girl actually gets so worked up and for not having that phone, she actually breaks that glass box just to get her phone. So it's a really great documentary. Yes, somebody agrees with me. So please watch that with your family. I think it's like an hour and a half, but it's a really great documentary. The Social Dilemma, it's called. All right. So one thing we wouldn't want students to be is a zombie to their phones. So much so that they're on it and they walk in the middle of traffic, right? Or they're not having meaningful conversations, or they're not getting anything done in their home. And so we want to prevent that. We want to help them to find a balance. So here's a couple, some ideas to help them, because they may say, oh, I can, quit whenever, I can find a break. But sometimes it's not always easy. So here's a couple ideas. Number one, if they go on your phone, if you have an iPhone specifically, go to your settings. And then this is a good little experiment, because first of all, you want to find out how much time are they spending on their phones. Well, if you go to settings and you go to screen time, you'll be surprised. In fact, we did this during the summer when we did our summer camps. And we asked the students to just pull out their phone and find out. And it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and some of them were already on it 6 hours already. It's like, whoa, I mean, that's a lot of screen time all at once. So find out how much screen time, and then the thing they can do is go to downtime and turn it on to set a time for the apps to shut off. So go to downtime and push on so you can turn off those apps. So let's say you want the apps to shut off at 9 o'clock tonight before they go to bed. Then you set it, and then the apps shut off, and then you can set it for them to go back on the next morning. Another thing is go to all apps and categories, and it says choose an app that you're addicted to and set a time limit. So TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, Snapchat is there one they watch a lot. There's actually a timer to help them take a break so they can not be addicted to it. And you can help them set that up so that they can find that balance and not get so caught up in it. Or if you just need to take the phone away and not let them have it near their bedside, that's probably a good idea as well. All right, so next thing I want to talk about is pornography. Back in our day, when we were younger, pornography was not easy to get our hands on. It was normally sold at 7-Eleven, but it was behind the counter. You had to be a certain age to get your hands on a magazine, right? It wasn't that easy access. But now things have changed, right? It's just a click of the mouse. It's just a click on their phones, and they can easily stumble onto it, whether they're looking for it or they accidentally click on the wrong link. In fact, my son, when he was 10, he was at my parents' house on their computer, and he clicked on the wrong link, and guess what popped up? And it traumatized him for days. I mean, we had to have talks and everything with that. So as of 2011, mobile devices became the greatest distributor of pornography. It's right at their fingertips. And again, it's just a click of the button or just click of the link, and there it is. Pretty scary stuff, and it's easy access. Here's some statistics. Stats show that because of internet-enabled devices, 51% of male and 32% of female students first viewed explicit content before they turned 13. So before the age of 13, they've already stumbled upon it or sought it out. Now, of course, it's more prevalent with the males because males are visual and they kind of are turned on by what they see, but it's also prevalent with the young females as well. And they're getting visuals as well, and they're developing addictions to it as well. And it's all happening even before the age of 13, which is a pretty scary thing. All right, so here's how pornography starts. It starts with just viewing it. Again, they accidentally stumble upon it or they sought it out and they view it. And they may at first be like, whoa, and and just kind of shut it down and like, whoa, what did I just do? And it may be a little fear because they know it's wrong and they shouldn't be looking at that. But then curiosity gets the best of them and they continue. They try it again because they're like, well, nothing bad happened the first time. Let's try it again. And they view it again and again and again. And before you know it, it can lead to addiction, just like we talked about earlier. In fact, there are studies that show that pornography can be just as addicting as cocaine. They did the study of the human brain where they showed studies of a brain on cocaine and a brain on pornography, and it actually kind of matched up. It's a really interesting study. And so they can develop an addiction to it just like a drug, sad but true. So it turns to addiction, and then it can lead to escalation, meaning this doesn't do it for me anymore, so I got to go to the next level, and the next level, and the next level, and the next level, because this just doesn't do it for me anymore. And then it turns into desensitization, where it doesn't even bother them, doesn't even faze them. And, at first it was just like, whoa, and there's that guilt and there's that shame, and then they get used to it. It's just common for them just to view it. And then, of course, it affects their thought process, and they just don't think it's a big deal. And they just start looking at other people instead of the value of them. They just look at them as an object, and they just, because they've seen so much and they're desensitized. And then, of course, it can lead to acting out sexually, where they now take in what they've seen and they apply it because they got to feed that need somewhere. So again, it starts with viewing, and then it's a snowball effect, and it just kind of gets out of control. So what we're going to do is I want to watch a video, and there's a guy I know, really great guy that actually struggled with what we're talking about. And I want to show you that hopefully our students have not breached that gap, but if they have, there is hope. There is a way out, and God can definitely help in that matter. So here we go.
Even though I grew up in the church, I guess you could say I had knowledge of God, but I didn't really know him intimately. And because I didn't know him intimately, that led to me chasing the things of the world. And I actually got addicted to various things, the main one being pornography. The Heavenly Father spoke to me personally about it through a youth leader at that time. And basically he said to me, everything in your life is good except for this one thing. And at that point, I never told anyone, because as those who know or who have dealt with pornography, you feel shame, guilt, and you don't want to come forth with it. He was pressing it on my heart, and of course I was running away because I didn't want to tell anyone. But because of his love for me, he kept pursuing me. I was still struggling with it. It was an on and off battle, on and off. At the beginning of last year, my computer mysteriously shut down, and I said to myself, maybe this is God trying to get my attention, and it turns out it was. And during that time, he led me to various online pastors, Pastor Charles Stanley, David Wilkerson. But one specific person he led me to was Coach Joshua Ezzy on YouTube. He led me to one of his books specifically called Unplugged. And what that basically is talking about unplugging from the world and plugging into God. And I remember in the book, Coach Josh had a section where he basically said, pour out your heart to God. And I did exactly that. I told God exactly what I was going through, how I was feeling, because at that time, it just felt like I was really chained to pornography and like other things, just doing any and everything to try to suppress the feelings that I had that I didn't even know I had, like rejection, loneliness, and things of that nature. So after I was honest and wrote out my heart to God, within a 1 to 3 day period, the desire for those things were gone. I had a strong desire just to follow the Heavenly Father, like for the first time. Like I said, I grew up in the church, but it was kind of like one foot in the church, one foot out. I know a lot of us as Christians do that. And I can honestly say now in my life where I'm at, I'm 22 years old, that my number one goal is for God to be my ultimate joy. And I just want to leave you guys with just 3 tips to overcome or combat pornography. And the first one would be to remember that God loves you. And that's the most important thing. I think a lot of Christians, we get caught up in religion or rules instead of following or obeying God from our acceptance and his love for us. Tip number 2 would be accountability and self-awareness. You definitely have to be accountable, not just to yourself, but to others. So have someone in your corner who's gonna be 100% honest with you, not condemn you, shame you, or guilt you, but just be there to support you. And then self-awareness, you have to be aware of the old habits that led you into the porn cycle, or honestly any sin that you're dealing with. Third, remember and have strong whys. You definitely have to have whys in this life, because whys will kind of keep us on track. For me, my whys are number 1, God. Number 2, family and friends, relationships. And then number 3, you want to be the best version of yourself for your future spouse. And they deserve for you to be whole and complete in God. And just, like I said, remember above all that God loves you, and he's pursuing you every single day. Even when you are pursuing him, he's still pursuing you. And just fall in love with them. And from that, live a life of worship and live to glorify him.
All right. So that's a great story, and that I mean, of course, hopefully our students haven't gone that far, but there is hope, and they can find freedom from that, and it's gonna take a community to help. And one of the things you can do is accountability, and there's a couple of different websites that if you are worried about your child stumbling upon it, there are different filters or different things that they can put on their phone or their computers to make sure that they don't go down that path. And so a couple of them are covenanteyes.com. That's a really great one. Triple X Church has a great one as well, iParent.tv. And so this is just 3 of them that you can have on your phone. I think there is a monthly fee. I don't know if they're free, but it's worth it. And if a student accidentally stumbles upon it, then you'll get notified of them, so you can put a stop to it. So those are just some, and it's to keep them accountable and to keep you involved in their life as well. All right, next thing I want to talk about is sexting. Sexting is defined by the U.S. court as an act of sending sexually explicit materials through mobile devices. This has become really a big deal in our society. I mean, it's happening a lot with young people. There's that pressure of to send me that picture. And so here's a little. You see in the picture here. Hey babe, can I get a waist up just for me? I don't know. What if you share it? What, you don't trust me? I do. I'm just worried. Come on, it's just one pic. So this is peer pressure, and the reason why they will, allow them to take that picture and to send that picture is because they don't want to lose that person. They feel, if I don't do this, I'm going to lose them. they're not going to want me or whatever. So in order to keep them around, I need to keep them engaged. And so there's that pressure to send that picture. And it's a really dangerous thing because there actually heard a story this past weekend where these two students at a local private school were sending pictures of each other to one another. And the parent of the girl saw the picture on her phone, and they called the police. And so now this boy who whether he was just it was just whether it was consensual or not, he is now flagged as a sexual predator, and it's on his on his record for the next 10 years. So until he's 25, he's flagged as a sexual predator because it's child pornography. They now have child pornography on their phone. It's a huge issue. And so one pic can change everything, one pic. And so, we got to educate our children not to give into that. I mean, the relationship's not worth it to go down that path. And really, obviously that person doesn't care about them personally. They just want to see their body. And of course, that's not a healthy relationship. So it can really lead, and another thing that can happen too is that they're not going to keep that picture to themselves. They're going to send it to all their friends. They're going to brag about it. They're going to be in the guy's bathroom like, look what she just sent me, ha, 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 ha. And they're going to send it around. And of course, if there's a breakup, now they have leverage. Oh, you broke up with me. You hurt me. I'm going to hurt you. And then they send that picture in a mass text message. And it's really sad what happens to reputations, and then students having to transfer out of schools, and of course, depression and all sorts of things as a result of that. So one pic can change everything. Next thing I want to talk about is the most popular apps. As you see on the screen, there's no Facebook, there's no Twitter. Why? Because that's for us old people. And that's what they'll tell you. Oh, Facebook is for my mom's on Facebook, my grandma's on Facebook. So they're not on Facebook as much. Some of them maybe, but it's very few. And so these are the 4 apps that they are on: YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. So let's talk about these one by one. Let's talk about YouTube first. And YouTube, 85% of teens use YouTube, which is the second largest search engine, and Google being number 1. So Google's number 1. If you search anything, you go to Google. And then YouTube is number 2, and Google owns YouTube. So they're in, they're the same company. Teens can easily get addicted to watching online videos and can waste a lot of time. I know I've done it before, watching video after video after video. So we want to give you a couple hacks so they don't get addicted to that. If they click on their profile pic in the upper right corner, they can scroll the settings, and again, they can have a reminder to take a break every 30 minutes if they are one to watch video after video after video. Another thing is you scroll down to autoplay next video and turn it off, because once you watch one video, about a couple seconds later, the next video starts, and you can actually turn that feature off. So there's not that temptation to watch multiple videos all at once. So little hacks there to prevent addiction. Instagram is the next one. With 1 billion users on the app, 71% are which are under the age of 35. So again, a lot of young people are on Instagram. The app has been known to be a breeding ground for bullying behavior. And the way this works is, of course, they post a picture, and of course, they have to have the right filter. It has to look good. They post that picture up there, and of course, somebody's got to comment. Somebody's got to be mean, got to be cruel. Again, in that social dilemma documentary, the girl posts a picture of herself, and somebody writes, "Oh, look at elephant ears," and then all of a sudden, she develops a complex. And so it can be a breeding ground for bullying behavior. An effort to gain more followers or attention, some users might behave in negative or dangerous ways. And so they want this following. They want a lot of people to follow them, and they want to be known on Instagram. So just posting pictures may not cut it. So they got to post videos of them doing something stupid, something dangerous, whether it's drugs and alcohol, or diving off the roof of their house into their swimming pool, or lighting themselves on fire, or doing something weird just to keep their audience engaged. And so now they get more followers, and they're like, I can't wait to see what they're going to do next. And then, of course, as a result, they're dealing with some serious injuries or even hospital visits for that matter. And it's not really worth it. So just keep the friends you have and not allow all these people into your life that we don't even know, and we don't know where it can lead to from there. The next thing I want to talk about is comparing ourselves to others. Instagram especially draws young women to compare themselves against unrealistic, largely curated, filtered, and photoshopped versions of reality. So these pictures on there, they're fake. That's them, but of course there's the filters. They got to make it curated and unrealistic. I mean, it's not really that person, because they want to look like someone. They look at someone else like, man, I'm not as pretty as them. I'm not as good looking as them. So it becomes a competition, and it can really affect their self-esteem. And it can become a comparison game, because they feel like they don't measure up, which is really, really sad. All right, and then of course there's TikTok. This seems like to be the biggest one right now. TikTok is fun. There's a lot of funny videos, a lot of dance moves, and things that are popular right now. But also, when there's a huge number of people using a social app, there's a dark side, right? So there's the good side, the light side, and then there's the dark side. So here are 4 concerns. Mature content. If you've been on TikTok at all, there's a lot of mature content on there. Mature content includes language. There's a lot of cussing on there, and inappropriate language as well. Explicit lyrics, because basically TikToks are put to songs, and they're usually about 15 minutes. And so they'll have songs by Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion or, Eminem or whatever. And the lyrics are very, of course, inappropriate, but they're dancing to these videos, and they're hearing these songs as well. Provocative dancing, there's twerking, there's all these inappropriate dance moves on there that they are involved with. And then there's sometimes violence as well. There's violence can, people punching each other and all sorts of crazy stuff on TikTok. Online predators are on there, people that, and we'll talk more about this in a second, but people that set up fake profiles, and they're trying to connect with young people. These social media apps has become a predator's playground, where predators used to hang out at the local park where the kids played, but now they're online, and they're talking to young people, not just one person, they're talking to multiple people all at once. The next thing is it can become addicting, just like we've been talking about. And then bullying, a lot of bullying, because somebody posts them dancing, and then somebody's got to criticize their dance moves. Oh man, you can't, you suck at those moves. You're not, and so again, it turns into a bullying situation. So which brings me to my next point, cyberbullying. Bullying in my day used to be up close and personal. It used to be, you go to school, you get bullied, which was sad, but then you were able to go home and then escape it, and you're in the safety of your own home. But now bullying is 24/7. They're being bullied at school, but then they go home and they get on their devices, and they're being bullied at home. Their pockets are constantly buzzing, and it's somebody ripping on them, saying mean things, making fun of them, etc., threatening them. So bullying can take place using electronic devices, and it happens. Cyberbullying is probably the most popular of the bullying. It does happen in person, but it's happening behind the scenes, because bullies can hide behind their computer screens, laptops, and cell phones, and do it from afar. And this is very important that we monitor this, because a lot of young people will not talk about it. They feel like, oh, this is my private world, I don't need to know. But if we don't find out, if we don't know what's going on, and it could be too late. In fact, there was a story in the news several years ago where a student ended their life because of cyberbullying, and the parents were dumbfounded. They're like, what happened? She was happy. Once they started combing through her social media, it was like ongoing bullying, and the parents were just unaware of it, and it just not a good situation. Then there's Snapchat. I think this is the last one. Snapchat, you click in the middle of it and you swipe down, and all of a sudden what appears is a map. It's called Snap Map. And so when you go on Snap Map, you can see everyone in your area that's on the device. And then if you scroll around, you can see Pinellas County, and then you can see Tampa Bay area, and then beyond the borders, you can see around the world. But the scary thing is, if they zero in on your child, basically it's a little picture of their, I forgot the name of it. It's a cartoon character looking person. If they zoom in, like you can see, it's a map. So you zoom in, they can actually see the location that they're at, the building that they're at the moment. It's a really scary thing. Online predators love it. They can locate your child at any time. And so Snapchat has really become a place for predators. Snapchat has 360 million users around the world. 70% of teens are on Snapchat. So always stay on ghost mode, and we'll talk about that. Yes, good job. That's exactly right. So 70% of teens are on Snapchat. So click on the gear in the upper right corner, turn on ghost mode, and then click to it's turned off. It's going to ask you, do you want to just turn it off for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes? No, you want to turn it off entirely. Your kids need to be off the grid. They need to be off the map. And then another thing that can happen is Snapchat streaks can be addicting. Turn them off, because every day they have to post. I got to get the streaks. I got to beat my friend. That can turn to addiction if you feel like it's a problem for them. So we're going to watch a video, online predators on Snapchat. And so this video is very eye-opening. This is an experiment video of how students can be sucked into a thing called catfishing, where a person sets up a fake profile, posing as a person their age, and it's not that person. It's a person who's much older with bad intentions. So let's go ahead and watch this video. Check this out.
In this episode, I made a fake profile on Snapchat posing as a 15-year-old. With the parents' permission, I added 3 kids, ages 12, 13, and 14 years old. This is what happened. So we have Daniel. He's a 12-year-old boy who's been talking to our fake profile on Snapchat named Jesse, and today they're supposed to meet up at a basketball court. So right now I'm here with the mother of Daniel. He's 12 right now?
Yes.
We made the fake profile as Jesse. She's a 13-year-old girl that he's been talking to online. I hit him up only on Snapchat, so he's been hitting up the profile on Snapchat. He doesn't really know if it's real or not, but we've been trying to be as convincing as possible. It's not really that hard. Saying that we're going to the same school, but as you know, you already seen that because we downloaded on his phone and on your computer. You can see that using the MSpy software. So you've seen all the conversations that we've had back and forth. What did you think about that program? It's cool, right?
I think it's great. It's a great program.
It's great. You can literally see everything that's going on with your child.
And you need to.
I told him as the fake profile, I may go to the basketball park today, so he thinks that Jesse's going to be there, right? So he said like in 1 hour. So we'll see if he shows up. If he doesn't show up, obviously that'd be amazing. But if he does, it's going to be intense.
We're disappointed.
What do you think? You think he's going to show up?
I hope he doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm not quite positive, but I hope he doesn't, because he should know better.
So he just said, I'm almost there. It's going to be so dope. Uh-oh. Yo, you Daniel? You here for Jesse? She's over here. Come here. I'll show you. She went on the side. I don't know. I've seen her go around the corner.
Are you kidding me, right? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We set up a fake profile on Snapchat, and you were stupid enough to go and meet somebody you don't know? You went to meet somebody with schoolwork in a backpack. Okay, let me see what's in the backpack, Daniel. It's awfully heavy, Daniel, for schoolwork to be... Wine? Daniel, you took a bottle of wine from our house. You're 12 to meet a strange person in a park. You're kidding me, right? You don't know better? You don't know better. Am I doing something wrong as a parent? Tell me where did I go wrong? And
do you know the whole time you were talking to the fake profile that we made named Jesse, and this could have ended a lot different. Some guy comes out, takes you in, who knows what could happen. You can't be talking to random people if you don't actually know them. Don't add anyone you don't know, don't talk to them. Anyone can say anything. It's so easy to make a fake profile these days. It takes 2 seconds.
Give me your phone, Daniel. Give me your phone. Let's go.
So,
all right, there's actually another scenario, but you guys get the point. And these can be found on YouTube as well. A couple other things I want to talk about, because I don't want to take all your time. We need to end at 7:30. Is conversation apps, and so these are different apps that a student can download on their phone and have conversations with. Omegle, which is really scary. Talk to strangers, as you can see on there. They basically, it just you push the button and it randomly dials until it lands on a person that they don't know, and they just start talking to them. That's how scary it is. WhatsApp can be used for that as well. Plenty of Fish is actually a dating app, which is not as popular, but it's easy to connect with something that's not as popular to make connections with people you don't know and have bad intentions. Discord, which is actually used for gaming, video gaming. Again, it's gaming can start off just about games, and then it can turn into something else, a conversation. And so if your students play any type of online games, you know, my kids do, my son's all about Apex and Fortnite and whatnot. And they're online talking to people, you know, at first it could just be them just gaming together and talking about the game. But if someone's on there that with bad intentions, it's an opportunity to connect with them and to, you know, pretend like there's somebody else, just like we saw in the video, and then eventually ask to meet up. And so if the conversation turns from the game into a very, very personal stuff, then that's where your child needs to know, whoa, that's a red flag. I can't give out that information. So here's a couple questions they may ask that is not even about the game is, what's your address? Why do they need to know that? Well, I mean, of course, they want to make that connection. And some of these connections don't happen overnight. Sometimes it happens over a year. In fact, there was two students up in Tennessee who was talking to somebody in Pinellas Park, Florida for a year. And then eventually he drove up to Tennessee because he made a connection with them and picked them up and drove them back to Pinellas Park, held them captive, and a tip-off led to his arrest. But who knows the trauma that those kids have faced. But it happens over a year. They got to build that trust, and they think they're talking to someone who's 16, 17, 18. They're talking to somebody much older. So if they ask for the address or ask what school they go to, that's personal. How old are you? Why? Because they're looking for minors. Ask for your phone number. Never give your phone number out, or talk on a separate app that's not on the game. So these are all warning signs. These are all red flags, and this should be immediate. Shut it down, and not just shut it down, but report it to the police, because these people need to be caught and brought to justice. Even on their handle, make sure it's not their full name. Don't put their real name out there. Make up something funny, you know, just something like, I have a couple examples here, Spider-Man 77, Chewbacca Fairy, something funny that doesn't give out their information, their real name. Also, the profile pic needs to be generic, not their real picture, something generic, a sports team, a cartoon character, etc. So you just want to be on there for the game part and not to give bait to these predators. All right, a couple things I want to talk about before we close is if your child is on a social media platform and they block you, that's a warning sign. Parents should be suspicious when their teen blocks them from social media. And listen, it is okay to be on their social media. I follow my son on Snapchat, and I'm not always on Snapchat. I'm not big on Snapchat, but I'm on there just to follow him. And he allowed me to do that. And sometimes he'll come up to me. He's like, "Dad, look at this. I didn't even watch the He's like, look at my story. Look what I just posted on there. It's funny, you know." So yeah, it's very important that you're on there. And if you get blocked or whatever, that's serious. And you should be allowed to be on their social media, whatever platform that is. Another thing that's very dangerous, you might have heard of this, is called the Calculator app. And it looks like a calculator, but you download it. And, you know, of course, they already have a calculator, but if they have two calculators on their phone, it's not because they love math so much. It's because the one calculator is a fake. And this one has several secret apps used to hide photos, videos, files, and browser history, so you can't see it. So if they have a suspicious looking calculator on their phone, that's a problem, because they're hiding stuff behind the scenes of a calculator. It could be all sorts of crazy stuff that they don't want you to see. So if you see that, deal with that for sure. And so there's three approaches when it comes to social media, and when it comes to parenting in general. If you think about it, there's three ways to approach this. Number one, you could be uninvolved. So basically, hand them a phone, have at it. You know, you do whatever you want, right? And just have your head in the sand. And oh, my son wouldn't be watching that. My daughter wouldn't be doing that. They would never do that. That's called putting your head in the sand, because Temptation is knocking at their door on a daily basis. Or you could be overprotective. I don't want my kids to have a phone at all. Or when they have their phone, there's a lot of restriction to it. There's a lot of control with that. And that could be effective at times, but sometimes when you control the situation way too much, they will find a way around it and find a way somehow to make connections in another way. Or you could be the third option, which is learn to discern, becoming responsible with media, basically helping them to make good decisions, walking alongside them, having these ongoing talks with them, asking questions, and just being involved in their life. I'm doing this right now with my 14-year-old with music. He went from, listening to Christian rap to now he's listening to more secular or non-faith-based rap music. And he'll listen to it in front of me, which I don't get. I don't even like this stuff, but he'll listen to it in front of me. And so we'll talk. I'm like, oh, what is he saying there? What does that mean? And so it kind of turns into like meaningful conversations, because I'm not saying, no, you're not allowed to listen to that at all. And then he's like sneaking it behind my back, but he's listening to it. And then it's creating a conversation where we can talk about the things he's listening to and what's right and what's wrong. And, how they can, so we can do the same thing with social media and walking alongside them and helping them along the way. So be a student of the culture. This is very important. We got to be culturally relevant. Listen to what they listen to, watch what they watch, read what they read, see what they see. And it's hard to keep up. Even as we get older, it's hard to keep up with the culture. Things are changing. What's popular yesterday is not popular today. It's constantly changing. And in fact, this morning I was on Instagram, and I saw a couple people posting about this app. I'm trying to think of the name of it right now. I'm drawing a blank. Give me 1 second here. It's called OnlyFans. I don't know if you heard of that. I didn't know what it was, OnlyFans. And so basically this girl that used to be on my youth ministry said, if I started an OnlyFans app, would you follow me? I'm like, what's OnlyFans? So I looked it up. I actually watched some YouTube videos, and it's pretty eye-opening what OnlyFans is. First of all, it's people that put, like, let's say their hobby is cooking or whatever the case may be. They put that out there, but you have to pay to watch their content. But a lot of it is mature content. And so I just learned about this just by watching some YouTube videos. That's what keeps me in tune. You really don't want to go to them and say, oh, son, daughter, what's OnlyFans? Because they may not give you the correct information. It's good to do your research on your own home. And it's just a couple clicks and you find out what that is, and you're now educated. But here's a couple resources just to help you out. I stumbled upon this one during the summer. It was smartsocial.com. We actually get a lot of our social media information from them. They're a really great resource. Smartsocial.com has a lot of great resources on all the apps and all the social media stuff. And then my favorite is right here. It's called access.org. I encourage you to go on to access.org, sign up for Cultural Translator email, and every Friday you get an email. And it keeps you up to speed on what happened that week and what's going on and what's popular at that moment. Because again, next week we're on to the next thing. I love Fridays when I get this email because it educates me. My favorite thing is the slang of the week. That is very interesting. What slang is popular at the moment. So do that. Access.org, sign up for that Cultural Translator. It's free emails, and it will keep you up to speed. All right. So media guidelines for your home. Here's just a few things that you can do when you're setting up guidelines. Phones and tablets are not babysitters. Yes, it's good to have. I know sometimes we're like, just go watch your tablet. Just get out of my hair. I know it's easy to do that, but don't let it be the babysitter. Let them have fun with it, but make sure there's a balance with that. The web is a resource, not a toy. They should be able to use it responsibly. Have a parent-child privacy talk, very important. Computer must be highly visible place. If you have a computer, a home computer or a laptop, that should not be in their bedroom by themselves. That should be in the family room where people can see what they're viewing. You can look at the browser history, all sorts of stuff, but they're not going to go on inappropriate sites if you are, right behind them. Only friend or like people you know. There's a lot of people that they don't know. So only, people with mutual friends, and don't let all these fake profiles into your life, because a lot of them are scams for sure. Assume everything on your phone will become public, because it will. The internet is forever. Everything they post, it will follow them. Even though things can be erased or deleted, and snaps go away, things can be screenshotted, and it follows them into their future. It's very important that they think before they post, because once they post that thing, it may come back to haunt them down the road. Which leads me to my very last and final point: prepare your social media for the future. Don't just live for the moment, live for the future. Why? Because colleges and jobs are looking at your social media. So I talked to a recruiter who is in the business of giving out scholarships, and they will look at a name and they will actually look at them up online and look at their social media. And if they're living this party life or a reckless life, it's immediate cross off the list. Seriously, this is what he told me, that they'll cross people off the list that don't, they feel like it's not a good representation of their college. Future employers will look at their social media as well. I do it as an employer when I'm trying to hire somebody for More to Life. I look at their social media, and if it doesn't represent the values of More to Life, I don't pursue that person. So they need to know that the things they're posting now will resonate, will come to the surface once again, and future colleges and employers will be watching. So make sure they need to clean it up. They need to only post things that will benefit them, and prepare them for the future. In fact, it's actually even a good idea to get them started on a LinkedIn page. Even though it's for us adults in the business world, it takes several years for it to really build. And so if they can work on something now and just start putting themselves out there, especially as they get out of high school into college, that would benefit them as well, to make those connections. So very important that they don't just use it now, but they are looking at the future with social media. So with that said, hopefully there was a lot of questions answered with social media. If you ever have future questions beyond this, here's my contact information. I am Jason Dorr. My phone number's on there, as well as my email and our website. Please check out our website as well. But with that, does anybody have any questions? You can just go ahead and write that in the chat. Just wait a few seconds here. Hopefully, again, I answer your questions. I know there was a question earlier. I think I answered it, but if I didn't, you're free to ask it again. A tracking app, yeah. I do recommend a tracking app, because I think it's important. A lot of parents are like, oh, I just don't want to spy on my kids. I think you should be spying on your kids. Verizon has apps that you can, if you're a Verizon a customer, they have things where you can see what they're seeing. You can view their history and what they're looking at. So yes, if you can find a good tracking app, what do I recommend? I have Verizon, so I know Verizon works for me, but there are other ones out there to explore. But yeah, that's a good one. Roblox, yes. Roblox is another one where it's a predator's playground. So these predators, they know where to find minors. They will play any of these games. And so please make sure, monitor what they're doing. Monitor how they're, I know they have their headphones on and they're talking, but make sure you're kind of listening to that conversation, that the room's not shut and you can't hear. Make sure, you're hearing that conversation. Because if they start talking, very personal stuff, then that needs to be put to a stop for sure. Okay, good. Anything else? Yes, we do have a social media presentation for students. And, if Our Savior Lutheran wants to bring us out for that, or if there's any other opportunities in the community, yeah, we do provide that for students. And some of the information that we talked about tonight, we present to them, but of course it's geared towards them. So we do provide that. Yes. So, okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Well, if you have questions, go ahead and write them in. If not, my contact info is on there, and you can contact me anytime. Give me a call or email, and I love to answer any of your questions for sure. But hopefully this was helpful to you, because I have a 14-year-old son. I have a 10-year-old daughter. They both have video games. They both have devices. They both have cell phones. And it's very important that I have to monitor my kids as well. You know, my 10-year-old, I don't let her watch certain YouTube videos, you know, so we have to monitor that. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate your time. And all right. Well, if that's it, we'll go ahead and end there. And like I said, this has been recorded, so I'm going to make sure that link gets out to everyone. I'll give that to Mr. Crosmere. So, all right. Well, you guys have a wonderful evening, and be safe, and we'll talk soon. God bless everyone. Thank you.